Good evening and thank you for joining us. Thunder Bay fire rescue crews had their hands full overnight with a huge downtown fire.
The former Oddfellows Hall on South May Street had flames shooting out the roof and windows, as well as heavy smoke, which forced an evacuation of the nearby shelter house. Cole Promain has the details.
At around 9 o'clock Sunday night, Thunder Bay fire rescue crews responded to a major fire at the former Oddfellows Hall. 5 pumpers and 2 aerial apparatus were used to try to contain the blaze, which tore through the roof. The notorious building had been condemned in November, and it's believed no one was inside or injured in the fire. Acting Fire Chief Greg Hankio says it was a difficult one to put out.
It's just the age of the building, again, multiple renovations to the building, the fact that we can't get interior on the building, we're defensive, so portions of the building have collapsed, so it's just a matter of the fire burning in nooks and crannies and void spaces, so it's just a long process to put it out.
Due to the high winds Sunday night, vast amounts of smoke were blown in the direction of the shelter house on nearby George Street. Shelter Director Michelle Jordan says an emergency evacuation was then put into place.
So basically the fire started at the Oddfellows building. Smoke started to come into our building. So the fire department evacuated the shelter. At that time we weren't sure what was going to be happening, so they got 3 buses available, city buses available, and we had everybody sitting on buses waiting to see what was going to happen.
We ended up bringing approximately 49 people to the Airlane Hotel, so they stayed there through the night, and in cooperation with community services, we're looking at accommodations for them should it be needed again tonight at possibly a community center.
All of the people who were inside the shelter house were placed on buses and waited until about 2 o'clock in the morning when accommodations were organized at the Airlane Hotel. And even after the occupants had a place to stay, Jordan adds that conditions were still not ideal.
There really was nowhere for people to sleep. It was just a room. So, you know, people have been up all night. Some people have been, or sleeping on the floor, that kind of thing. So it's been kind of an uncomfortable night, and people are a little, you know, shaky this morning. But and just the uncertainty. I mean, you know, they're already displaced people, and now we're displacing them again. So it's just, you know, we're trying to figure things out and hopefully be back in the building as soon as possible.
A ventilation system has been put in place at the shelter house, but the occupants are still not being allowed back and will be spending Monday night at the Vale Community Center. The investigation into the cause of the fire is expected to begin on Tuesday once all the hot spots are put out. Cole Promain, TBT News.
The Thunder Bay Police Major Crimes Unit continues to investigate a pair of sudden deaths over the weekend. The 2 cases are separate, but both occurred Saturday on the city's north side. The first incident involved a body found by a passerby on Court Street South at around 9 o'clock in the morning. Officers continued to cordon off the area Saturday night. Police won't say whether the deceased is male or female. They say they're withholding that information in order to give investigators a chance to better assess the quality of the tips they're receiving. Post-mortem was conducted today, and police expect to announce tomorrow whether the death is criminal or not. The second incident occurred Saturday night at a Cumberland Street hotel. Police were called about a 25-year-old injured female. When officers arrived, the woman was pronounced dead at the scene. A post-mortem is scheduled for tomorrow, with more information on that case to be released on Wednesday.
Thunder Bay District Health Unit says tests on a group of area residents for the COVID-19 virus have all come back negative. As we reported this weekend, an unspecified number of people underwent testing after they presented at a local health facility with flu-like symptoms. They were flagged after recent travel to an area where the virus is known to be active. While not providing an exact number, the health unit says less than 5 people were tested. Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Janet DeMille, says this confirms that the measures the province has put into place will help protect the public.
Is positive. The Ministry of Health itself is alerted, and an announcement of a positive test will be done by the Chief Medical Officer of Health of the province in conjunction with myself. Individuals who are potentially presenting with like a cough or a fever and who may have a travel history are presenting to emergency rooms or clinics, and it is through the assessment that the clinician, the healthcare provider that does, it determines that person warrants a test for the COVID-19.
Local officials say they believe it's just a matter of time before a coronavirus case appears in the area. If an individual has a history of contact with someone who has shown symptoms or has tested positive for COVID-19, officials advise those individuals to self-isolate at home while a public health official monitors them to ensure public safety.
Thunder Bay cannabis users were on cloud nine today as the city's first legal pot store held its grand opening. Tokyo Smoke's latest Canadian franchise is located on Memorial Avenue, and it is their 7th retail shop in the province. Corey Nordstrom was there as the doors opened this morning and files this report.
It's a long time coming to have legal recreational cannabis available in Thunder Bay.
And as Tokyo Smoke opened its doors, customers like Tyler Lagarde were excited they could finally buy legal marijuana in person, something he thought would be a long time coming.
Well, I came here at 7:30 in the morning. I didn't see it happening this fast. I thought it would happen in at least a couple of years, but here we are. We have a shop here in Thunder Bay, and I think it's going to go well.
With issues around the location of their store now behind them, officials with Tokyo Smoke and parent company Canopy Growth are excited for the new journey. And with a bright, open design for their Memorial Avenue store, some customers say it doesn't mesh with the idea that many have of a pot shop.
I believe people have some misconceptions of what a cannabis shop would be, and they are going to be pleasantly surprised of how nice this place is and how friendly and educated the staff are here.
Staff education is at the forefront of Tokyo Smoke's business model. They have easy-to-understand labels and an intent system, letting consumers know how each product will affect them, which is critical when entering a market for the first time.
It's important for those who, both have experience with cannabis and those who don't. And we've designed the store and the products that we offer, both with novice consumers in mind and those who are more experienced.
The opening of Tokyo Smoke fills a hole in the cannabis industry and a significant gap between the next closest retailers. Co-owner Michael Rodenberg says it will also help the local employment scene.
We're actually probably going to add to the staff count later this week. So we have 25 staff, all from all different walks of life. We've picked up some employees from Bombardier who were laid off early in December. So it's a great employment story for the local community as well.
Tokyo Smoke is open from 9 in the morning to 10 at night every day of the week. Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
The province's Special Investigations Unit says criminal charges will not be laid against an OPP officer involved in a collision in Thunder Bay last year, which left 3 people injured. The crash occurred in the afternoon of June 11, 2019. A blue unmarked police cruiser collided with an SUV, which was turning left onto Golf Links Road from the regional hospital. The police vehicle was doing twice the speed limit at 122 kilometers an hour because the OPP was conducting surveillance training. A 75-year-old man driving the SUV suffered a broken bone in his neck, and his 62-year-old female passenger was also hurt. A 37-year-old male passenger in the police vehicle suffered a broken arm and leg. SIU Director Joseph Martino says while the police officer's speed may be subject to criticism, it fell short of warranting a charge of dangerous driving causing bodily harm. He says the officer was engaged in a bona fide training activity and points out that police vehicles used in the lawful performance of police duties are exempt from posted speed limits.
A total of 9 people are facing charges following a pair of drug busts by city police over the weekend. In one, 6 males, all from the Toronto area, including 3 minors, were taken into custody after officers investigating an assault complaint at a Cumberland Street address discovered drugs and cash. All 6 are facing drug charges and have been remanded into custody. In the second incident, officers responding to a medical distress call on Brodie Street also found evidence of drug activity at the residence. 2 Southern Ontario men and a Thunder Bay woman have been charged. They too have been remanded into custody.
As questions persist about the future of the Thunder Bay Conservatory, City Council will receive a comprehensive report on the facility tonight. City staff recommend the seasonal cold frame greenhouse be replaced this year. Plants grown there are used to support low-impact stormwater management in the city. The new structure is expected to cost $75,000, but it's believed keeping that stormwater management in-house will save $120,000 a year. Depending on the city's upcoming program and service review, it's also recommended that 3 production greenhouses on the property, which grow plants and flowers for the conservatory and city parks, be replaced in 2021. That carries an estimated $1.6 to $1.8 million price tag. The new greenhouses would be more energy efficient, and new automated features would save $12,000 in annual staff overtime costs. As for the conservatory itself, it needs extensive repairs that could run north of $3 million. The report recommends city staff present renewal options at a later date and also identify potential revenue opportunities, such as a coffee bar inside the facility.
Major announcement in Toronto today could see plans for a road network into the Ring of Fire move ahead. Premier Doug Ford and Minister Greg Rickford joined leadership from Martin Falls and Webquay First Nations at the Prospectors and Developers Conference for a signing ceremony on the proposed Northern Road Link. The chromite deposit north of Martin Falls and east of Webquay is expected to provide billions of dollars in economic opportunity for the region. The signing between the First Nations and the government serves as one of the biggest steps towards all-season roads to the remote area to date. The Northern Road Link would connect the proposed Martin Falls Access Road at the south end and the proposed Webquay Supply Road at the north end. Here's what Premier Ford had to say about today's announcement.
Today, we're taking a crucial step forward in unlocking the multi-billion-dollar opportunity that is in Northern Ontario's Ring of Fire. We're signing a historic agreement with the Webquay and Martin Falls First Nations to bring jobs, growth, long-term prosperity to their communities and to all Northerners, the likes of which this province has never seen before.
As somebody who has lived in this region for a very long time, developing a reliable all-season road infrastructure, including today the Northern Link Road, will bring monumental social, health, and economic benefits to the communities most proximal to what we refer to as the Ring of Fire.
Leadership from the Nescatica First Nation have expressed their opposition to that north-south road, saying it infringes upon their territory. Meantime, the Mayor of Sioux Lookout and the chief of the Slate Falls First Nation hosted a separate news conference in Toronto today to advocate for an east-west road to the Ring of Fire and to promote the benefits of such a road for their communities.
Ontario public high school teachers and the province could return to the bargaining table this week. The two sides held informal meetings this weekend and could restart formal talks if there's been enough progress made. This would be the first time both parties have returned to the negotiating table since December. It's still unclear how the weekend's meetings went, and another series of rotating strikes are still planned for later this week.
March 8th marks International Women's Day, and to commemorate the occasion, a crowd gathered at City Hall this morning for a ceremonial flag raising. The Northwestern Ontario Women's Centre invited the public to come and join them for the event. Guest speaker Shelby Gagnon focused on finding identity and healing as a young Indigenous woman. The event also celebrated the strength women bring to the community and acknowledged the issues women face in Thunder Bay regarding safety and equality. Centre Director Gwen O'Reilly says, despite all of their progress over the years, there is still much more to be done in Thunder Bay and area.
Well, we have a long way to go. There's a high level of violence in Thunder Bay with very few safe places for women to go. And I run an agency, but I'm also a frontline worker, and so I see women in my center every day who are in desperate straits, and there is no place to send them.
And that's a call to action for everybody, whether it's at the citizen level or at the leadership level. There's things that we can do to be more intentional about how we ensure that women are included and supported to achieve their full potential, and how we ensure that we start to look at the systems and structures that continue to oppress women and women's success.
Several other events are taking place this week, including a pancake breakfast and a solidarity march on Sunday.
The Special Olympics Canada Winter Games came to a close this weekend. On Sunday, hundreds of athletes were at the Thunder Bay Airport saying their goodbyes as they flew home with some hardware, friendships, and a lifetime of memories. Avery McRae reports.
Thank you, Thunder Bay, and stay classy.
It was a bittersweet end to an amazing week of sport in Thunder Bay. Venues throughout the week were packed full of friends and family supporting and cheering on 1,200 athletes from across the nation in 8 different events. Athletes ended their stays celebrating the week with a dance at the Valhalla Inn, where the Olympic torch was also put out. Those involved felt the week flew by and seemed like only yesterday the athletes arrived in the city. Barry Strive, chair of the game's organizing committee, says it was tough to say goodbye.
And it's quite a spectacle when you see all of those athletes gathered together. But you know what? A bit of a sad day too for all of us who have been so involved in this event.
For my team, when I found out, I cried a little bit when I found out. You know, I think I was excited. I wanted to go, and now I'm going home. It's like, wow, it's coming to the end. I didn't want to leave. But
throughout the week, stories emerged from the games of athletes and their history. Special Olympians face personal battles every day, and this is a chance for those to put things aside and focus on the games. Robert Shedrick, a member with Team Quebec's floor hockey team, was named a star in the final game, something that had him rather choked up.
In general, everything is just amazing, and especially at the end of the game, being announced one of the stars of our last game, that it really touched me a lot. I had tears in my eyes. It's just phenomenal.
I got so many high fives and fist pumps and hugs, and you know, something about that special. And they're genuinely happy to do that, and they're genuinely happy to see people and have a conversation with you. Yeah, those are the special moments. That's what makes it all worthwhile.
From athletes aged 13 to 74, the Special Olympics highlight the spirit and joy in sport and is a pure example of sport for all the right reasons. Avery McCrae, TBT News.
Well, it really was an unbelievable